is currently speaking in Kakamega.
Confrontational languages and hate speeches that can plunge us again as a country into the situation we were in the year 2007-2008 that almost deteriorated into a civil conflict. It is, however, clear that the election fever is increasingly gaining momentum, and many are positioning themselves to be elected. This means that already the country has been put on campaign mode at the expense of service delivery and development. We note with concern that leaders are abandoning their responsibilities and shuttling from one corner to another, seeking to secure a place for 2017 elections. Politicians are tearing into one another and making dangerous statements capable of wiping up ethnic tensions, clashes, and violent political rivalry. Accusations and counter-accusations are being traded at the expense of the truth. It is evident that politicians and aspirants are already set for 2017 elections. Where does this leave Kenyans? It has now become a pattern that every time we approach the election year, violence erupts in many parts of the country. Already, lives have been lost in the conflict between the Pokots and the Marakwets. There are ongoing clashes between Kisii, Maasai, and Kipsigis communities. Recently, violence was reported in Turkana County following the by-election for the member of County Assembly of Kalokol Ward. A shooting spree between rival Jubilee and CORD supporters left 2 children with gunshot wounds. The people of Kalokol Ward witnessed an election-related fracas never seen in that area before. This surge in violence in this country, especially those related to politicians jostling for power in 2017, is reaching levels that should worry all of us. The lives of Kenyans were very precious, and everybody civilized, everybody threatening or attacking them has no place in any decent and civilized society. We condemn these acts of violence in the strongest terms, and we call for the arrest of any person inflicting violence and continuous suffering to others. It is now clear that if strong action is not taken, there is real concern for the government might not be able to control the violence that may erupt during election time. Dear Kenyans, elections come and go. We must never allow ourselves to be used for political expedience every election period, only to be left wounded, maimed, hopeless, and divided more than ever before. Who is benefiting from these conflicts? Why must political opportunists always take advantage of us and use us to destroy our great country? We must persistently reject any attempt to take us back to the dark days of election-related violence. We call upon everybody to be conscious of the obligation to work together a peaceful process of elections. We are hopeful that the institutions created for this purpose will be credible and ensure transparent process that will lead to free and fair elections. Perpetual infighting among elected leaders. We have noted with concern the infighting among the elected leaders in some of our counties. It is very painful that these leaders, obviously because of greed, are continuously impeaching one another, trading accusations and counter-accusations, and even physically fighting to the detriment of development and well-being of the citizens who elected them. There are counties where service delivery has stopped and all activities paralyzed, yet these leaders continue earning their fat salaries, awarding themselves, their relatives and cronies lucrative contracts, while some are looting the coffers of the county. All those committing economic crimes should not only be brought to face the law, but their ill-gotten wealth must be confiscated and returned to where it belongs. The kind of leadership we are witnessing is no longer about service and the effort to bring development to counties and the country, but it is all about which position has more money and power, so that to access the sources for it will be their turn to eat. These elected leaders are ready to protect their positions with all means, including violence. We particularly appeal to all political leaders, aspirants and supporters, civil servants and servants to mind to the good of our country and to conduct themselves peacefully, to restrain their supporters from any form of violence and conflict. We call upon each one of you to endeavor to identify honest and credible candidates and to vote on their basis of credibility and integrity rather than handouts and empty political rhetorics. We call upon these leaders to stop the incessant infighting and commit themselves to the work which they have been elected to do. Political realignments. Political realignments based on tribal and sectional considerations should not be the criteria of 2017 election campaigns in the counties and in the country. We must eradicate this mentality of having one of our own at the expense of other communities. This will threaten the peace in areas where there are many communities living together. And hate speech, we wish to caution again and again our politicians to avoid inflammatory language and the tendency to set one community against another. There are those politicians known for uttering what amounts to hate speech. As election period is around the corner, let them promote peace and harmony among our communities.
Politics in places of worship. The church is called to be the conscience of the society. Consequently, those working in the